Thank you, Riyadh. We've now heard from speakers about their struggles to obtain exemptions to enter Australia, including the challenges and the lack of information and bureaucracy they encounter, and the heartbreak they endure while they wait. Our next group of speakers are those who do not even have this option. As counterintuitive as it may sound, parents are not currently recognised as immediate family. This is heartbreaking for so many families, in particular those who are not anticipating to need to give birth or raise children without any familiar support. It is heartbreaking for the parents who are missing the lives of their children and missing watching their grandchildren grow. These moments don't come back, and they're not the same when they're shared through a screen.
Good morning. My name is Valeria Greenfield, Australian citizen and Queensland resident. I am one of the admins of the Facebook group called Parents Are Immediate Family, which represents 25,000 members, all Australian citizens and permanent residents whose parents were born overseas. While Australia has welcomed hundreds of thousands of non-Australian citizens and residents for the last 18 months since the start of the pandemic, our parents have been denied entry. And why? Because they are not considered immediate family, and also because they are not part of the long list of exemption applications. This information can be found on the Australian Bureau of Statistics and also in the immigration website. It is why we have presented petition after petition. So we ask the government to let our parents into the country, but these all have been denied. And why? Because of two reasons. One, because the government needs to keep Australians safe. And the other reason, because there are too many of our parents. And I ask the government, aren't we Australians? Our safety doesn't count. It's only COVID what it matters. You tell us that you need to keep Australians safe. And let me tell you one thing. I've lived in Queensland with many few cases in the world, and I've never felt that unsafe in my life, never. The fear, the worry, the anguish that my parents can die at any point and I'm not allowed to see them and they are not allowed to come here has been really hard to manage. And I'm only one of millions going through this pain and concerns. The other reason, because there are too many. But why can the government implement some solutions? You want the celebrities to come here and film movies. You make up a plan, you work something out. You want the sports to happen here in Australia. You work something out again. You make this happen. What about our parents? Aren't they important? Our Facebook group, day after day, have several hundreds of people going through extremely hard situations, high-risk pregnancies. They need support with mental health illness, with physical illness. They are desperately to reunite with their parents. And we have no solution in sight. We have no answers. And not only because of these reasons, also because they are our parents. They are the grandparents of our children. We don't only want to see them when they are about to die. We want to see them when they are alive, when we are good. We request and we demand the government for a solution, for a plan. It's been 18 months since the start of the pandemic, and we are doing exactly the same or even worse than day one in March 20 when the borders were closed. Our parents are not celebrities, our parents are not sport people, but they gave us life and they're important. There is no love like our parents, and there's no love like our grandparents. We want to know when and why. It's been too long.
My name is Alexandra Parker, and I am the founder of We Need Our Village. I have been passionately advocating for all expecting and new parents whose mental health has been affected by the pandemic. I'm originally from the UK, a beautiful seaside town called Bournemouth, and I've lived in Sydney for 9 years. I have 2 young children, Lily and Jack. I gave birth to my second child, Jack, in May 2020 as COVID started to infiltrate the world. Like many pandemic mothers, my experience has been tinged with despair, isolation and heartbreak. A strict Australian border closure prevented my mum from being able to travel from the UK to support me. Having a baby during the pandemic has been the hardest thing I have ever done. The sense of despair I have felt has been so acute at times it's hard to process. After a traumatic birth and being extremely sleep deprived, I could barely function as a human. How could I be a mother when it felt like I was living in a vacuum? My body was overtaken with grief and I went to a very dark place. My breaking point was when my 4-year-old daughter had to pick me up off the floor. I knew I had to get help, and I was diagnosed with postnatal depression and anxiety. If my mother was allowed to travel from the UK to Australia to support my children and I through this time, my perinatal mental health would not have declined as much as it did. Women who have given birth during the crisis have been some of the most affected in our communities. The border closures have denied expecting and new parents of their vital support system, leaving them isolated and vulnerable. Isolation can have a significant effect on exasperating perinatal mental ill health and places a larger number of people at a heightened risk of postnatal depression. I want to make sure no one else has to go through what I went through. I want to do everything I can to help educate people on how important it is to look after the mental health of expecting and new parents. Research has shown the presence of a strong support system can help mitigate the risk and trauma perinatal mental illness may cause. Perinatal mental health services are being inundated with people needing support. There are now long wait lists to get help. Perinatal mental illness has been identified as a major public health concern and can have long-lasting detrimental effects on families and children. We need to find a way to address this problem now. Prime Minister, Minister Andrews, you must allow compassionate travel exemptions for a support person, like a grandparent, to travel to Australia in order to provide the vital support during the birth of a child. Childbirth is a life transitioning event. People cannot and should not go through this transition vulnerable and alone. No new parent or child should be at a heightened risk of this crippling mental health condition. To all the expecting and new parents, we need to stand with each other in support. Share our truth and experiences. It is our power. Our collective voices can make a difference so we can be heard loud and clear. Perinatal mental health matters.
Hello, my name is Daniela and I am the one who is behind the video and the song Is This Australia? And for the last few months, I've spent a lot of time raising awareness for the mental health impacts and the emotional effects that the current border closure policies have on many Australian citizens and residents that are locked in, locked out, or locked down. And for personal reasons, especially the mental health impacts it has on expecting and young mothers like myself. In preparation for today's vigil in London and on the world, or in the World Wide Web, I've just watched Alexandra Parker's video, and it has really hit me. I hardly ever allow myself anymore to think about it too much. It's like I'm pushing it away because it's too painful to really, really dwell on it. But I cannot even express in words how incredibly sad I am that I, and especially my children, have been denied the opportunity to have my mum and their grandmother here for our support. And I can really only hope that things will change soon and that my mum will have the pleasure of meeting this little one. Yeah, I guess that is just something I wanted to share. Okay, this is me, Daniela, again, a couple of hours after I took this very spontaneous and very raw video. So here's part 2 with hair and makeup adjusted and my thoughts collected. On behalf of everyone who has been separated from loved ones and immediate family during these past 1.5 years due to the border closures and flight caps, I would like to say our patience, understanding, and mental and emotional capacity are stretched to the limit. We understand that Australians need to be kept safe. What we don't understand is how are parents not considered immediate family? How much more immediate does it get? How are we supposed to feel when our applications to be with our parents and loved ones are rejected because our reasons are declared not compelling enough and that the risk does not outweigh the benefit to Australian society? How are we supposed to feel when we are told to watch loved ones being sick, sad, die, born, growing up on a screen, when at the same time politicians, celebrities, business people, rich people and sports stars, plus their families, wives and girlfriends can come and go? Oh yes, I forgot, they have important and compelling business. They provide value. Well, too bad my mum doesn't play cricket. Well, I propose that we and our mental health have incredible value too. We are actually holding this country, this society together, but we are torn apart and we are falling apart. Please set the priorities straight, end the double standards, and let us be with our families.